Chapter 9. You are dead cold, CapsLock.
No, I'm not. I'm a perfectly healthy cold with a perfectly healthy dick.
No, you stupid cold, it's the title of the chapter.
I can't choose something like that as a chapter.
Obviously, if this author can. And now, stop complaining and finally enjoy the show.
Chapter 9. You're dead cold, CapsLock. After his unfortunate encounter with Pinkamena, CapsLock had slunk back into the shadows. He watched as his intended targets helped clean up the mess he'd worked on so hard to make. From now on, I'm going after them, not any crazy pink psychopath, he decided. Suddenly he became aware he wasn't alone. He turned to see Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon standing behind him, grinning. "Oh, hello, CapsLock!" Diamond Tiara greeted him, smiling and rolling her eyes. She began laughing, and Silver Spoon joined in. CapsLock narrowed his eyes and slowly asked, "The hell you just call me?" "CapsLock," Diamond Tiara repeated slowly. I'm sorry, what?" CapsLock asked, putting his hoof up to his ear. "I said CapsLock!" One more time, I can't hear you all over the sheet in your mouth." The two fillies backed up after hearing the four-letter S word. It was one of the words their parents used and told them not to repeat. That's a bad word," Silver Spoon stuttered, pointing to CapsLock. "Yeah, we're telling on you," Diamond Tiara shouted. "To who? No pony gives a shit what you two little whores have to say," CapsLock said angrily. "Get out of here before I wreck you." Diamond Tiara looked at Silver Spoon nervously. "What's a whore?" she whispered. Silver Spoon shrugged. "Must be something bad," she replied. "Give him a whore." "Well, you're a whore," Diamond Tiara shouted, looking back at CapsLock. CapsLock shook his head and covered his eyes with one hoof. He lowered his hoof to look back at Diamond Tiara and said, "Looks like CapsLock is gonna have to prune a filly." He took a deep breath and approached his target, fire in his eyes. "It must have been an accident. Your parents didn't want you, but your dad was too stupid to pull out. So instead of winding up as a stain on the sheets, you managed to congeal in your mama's disease-ridden stallion trap. By the time your mom realized she was fatter than usual, it was too late for an abortion. So she tried smoking and binge drinking, so you may just come out dead. What she got was a retarded filly that stands before me, whose only talent in life must be passing out hoof jobs, because no pony would want her junk near your mouth. If they did, it's so they wouldn't have to hear you cry while they plowed you." CapsLock stood nose to nose with Diamond Tiara and stared into her eyes angrily. His eyes glanced up to her tiara and quickly back down. "Your daddy's little princess, though, right? Buys you a lot of nice things, touches you in your special place, and tells you not to tell mommy." "Stop it!" Diamond Tiara cried out, tears welling up in her eyes. "Why are you saying all these things?" "The truth hurts, doesn't it?" CapsLock shouted. Diamond Tiara began all crying and fled from the cold. He watched her run away, feeling a sense of self-accomplishment. Silver Spoon remained frozen in place, and CapsLock slowly turned to her. "You want yours now?" My mommy said I was a happy surprise," Silver Spoon stuttered, fearing she may be called an accident as well. She ran off to join her friend, leaving CapsLock feeling extremely satisfied. "Thank you so much for helping me," an annoying, high-pitched voice said from behind CapsLock. He turned to see Pink Pear and the Blank Flanks had completely cleaned up the town. "No problem, Pinkie Pie," Sweetbell said happily. She, Applebloom, and Skulu all looked to their flanks, hoping a mess-cleaning cutie mark would appear. When it didn't, they all looked down in disappointment. "At least, now that CapsLock is dealt with, we can finally go back to crusading," Skulu shouted. The filly's expression turned hopeful, and they turned to leave. Pinkie Pie held out 3 rocket-ship lollipops as reward for the help. "Take one for the road," she shouted, offering them out to the fillies. "No thanks, Pinkie Pie," Applebloom laughed. turning away from the offer. Come on, girls! Let's go see if Applejack has anything new for us to do. CapsLock hid in the shadows until the three fillies passed by. Dealt with? He asked himself aloud. Beach, I ain't begun to fight! He crept out of his hiding place and began following the CMC at a distance. The fillies eventually became aware of his presence, and they kept on walking. He's right behind us, Sweetbell whispered. Just keep moving, maybe he won't. What are you fucks doing? CapsLock shouted. Go away, Applebloom shouted in reply. CapsLock shouted, Fags! In response. What's a fag? Applebloom asked the other fillies. Scooter replied, must be another one of the weird insults. Let's just ignore him. Faggy faggots! CapsLock continued on. Cut it out, CapsLock, Sweetbell yelled. Fags! The commotion from the four ponies eventually drew the attention of a low-flying Pegasus. Scooter saw a shadow sweep across the ground, and she looked up to see one other than Rainbow Dash. Everything all right here? The blue Pegasus mare asked. CapsLock looked at Rainbow Dash, and his jaw dropped. Oh, me, Celestia, look at this fuck! Look at your fucking mine! You're out loud and proud, aren't you? What's a fag? Rainbow Dash asked, turning out to the fillies in confusion. We don't know, but he's always saying and doing mean things, so it must be something bad, Scooter explained, wrapping her hooves around Rainbow Dash's leg and looking into her eyes. Rainbow Dash looked over to CapsLock, and her eyes narrowed. So is she a bully? She asked. She's something called a troll, Sweetbell answered. And you're all fags! CapsLock shouted. Rainbow Dash flared her wings and slowly trotted over to the obnoxious colt. CapsLock didn't back down. He looked up at the Pegasus and gave her the biggest, goofiest smile he could. All Rainbow Dash could do was try to make the most imitating face she was capable of. You look like you have a stick up your ass, CapsLock laughed, pointing at Rainbow Dash's angry face. A wonderbolt in training. I'm not allowed to hurt you, but if I wasn't. Wonderbolts are gay. Only queers like you would want to be one, CapsLock interrupted. What did you say? Rainbow Dash asked, scratching at the ground with her hoof. The CMC instantly recognized CapsLock's ploy. Don't let him make you mad, Rainbow, Applebloom shouted. Call him a skank, Scooter suggested. Rainbow Dash pronounced the word slowly to herself. Where are you getting all these words? She asked, after realizing she didn't know what a fag, troll, or skank were. Oh, so you're dumb and ugly, CapsLock said with a sneer. Rainbow whipped her head around to look at the colt once more. Her nostrils flared and her eye began to twitch. The CMC watched and sighed, wishing the pony with her shortest temper had stayed out of the ordeal. CapsLock began wondering what this new opponent's breaking point was. He felt he was close, but it wasn't about the destination. It was about the journey. If he was lucky, he could drag this on for an hour or two, he thought to himself. Get out of the way, noob, CapsLock said, literally pushing Rainbow Dash out of his face. I'm walking here. He trotted towards the CMC, walking around Rainbow Dash every time she landed in front of him. No, you leave them alone, Rainbow shouted, continuing to ignore her until he was face to face with Sweetbell. So, you ever stick that horn up your friend's I said leave them alone, Rainbow Dash shouted, spinning the colt around. CapsLock instantly dropped to the ground and began crying. My shoulder! My shoulder! He wailed, clutching onto his right shoulder. She broke it! Rainbow Dash looked around nervously, afraid somebody may have witnessed her act. It never occurred to her that the colt was faking. Before the CMC could warn Rainbow Dash, she had placed herself over the colt for a better view of his shoulder. I'm sorry. Shh, shh, Rainbow Dash whispered, trying to think of a way out of the situation. The moment she looked away from CapsLock, she grinned and brought his rear hoof up with extreme force, connected a very sensitive part of Rainbow Dash's mare autonomy, and she collapsed to the ground. Rainbow! The three fillies shouted in unison. They gathered around the downed Pegasus as CapsLock laughed and laughed and laughed. Rise of whole factory! CapsLock laughed, rolling on the ground. After a moment, he added, I bet that's the closest thing she's ever had to penetration. The CMC looked their injured role model and then to the cold that had brought her harm. Maybe they'd get their cutie marks in ass-kicking. And another author's note. My apologies for the crude language and use of derogatory terms. It's only going to get worse. CapsLock is not just a troll, he is a brat from all the hate and negativity from the internet. It's hard to stop some pony. So insensitive. And as you can hear, my voice is now officially dead. So until I have my voice back and can talk normally again, it's going to be some time, but we will see us again in chapter 10. You know, when you're older, you sometimes realize that back in the day, you were really a pussy. Because nowadays, after 10 hours of recording and it's like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., I'm still going fine. Right now I'm going fine. But back in my days, like after 30 minutes of reading, I was like, oh, my voice, I can't hear my voice anymore. And now I am like, oh, I'm still going strong after 10 hours of doing this. Yeah, sometimes we are just a pussy. Happens. It's life.
Wow, great insights.
No, they were not. They were not great insights.
That was irony. You... 3 more chapters.